Bohol, a large island in the Philippines, seems to encapsulate everything you could possibly see on the postcards you would send back home as a tourist. From mangroves to white sand beaches, diving, natural wonders, and heritage, it has it all. But for an island so large, all the activity seems to be focused around Panglao. I want to show you another side to Bohol. For the last 50 years, the Philippines has always been talked about as a nation on the rise, with high growth potential and touted as the next big destination. The country has so much to offer and the tides are finally coming in, and we want to show you this beautiful nation and what needs to be done to preserve what makes these islands special and keep them more fun forever. So join me as I take a closer look into the archipelago. We landed at the brand new international airport on Panglao, located just 15 minutes from the major beaches and resorts. You can tell that this has been built to be able to accommodate much more than the current over 1 million tourists that visit this island yearly.
Unda Beach seems to be where most of the activity is centered. You'll find everything here from restaurants to resorts, and everything's kind of around here. It's a beautiful place.
Unda Beach is a small area of Panglao, and when you compare it to the size of the rest of Bohol, it's tiny. Most of the popular resorts are all within a 20-minute drive from here, and it has really become the heart of tourism in the region, acting as a jump-off point for all the other activities such as trekking or touring other interesting sites. With tourism in concentration points such as these, and with the island expecting to welcome an increasing number of tourists every year, the environment has to become a top priority.
They do have those solid waste management program, but then I don't feel it because every day I see trash like everywhere, especially in vacant lots because there is poor collection of garbages.
Do you feel like in your organization, your association, do you feel like you're alone in your fight, or do you get a lot of local support?
No, we're not alone actually, because we have lots of supporters like students, schools, and business establishments. Actually, Donatella, they always volunteer in our cleanups.
For me, I really believe that in order for you to be very successful in your cause, you need 3% of the population to have direct action and get 40% or 60% of sympathy. So we are quite good on that. Like we are just too few.
Yeah, actually a lot of business establishments in Panglao have already reduced their plastic footprint, so they're not using single-use plastics anymore in their establishment, so it's a good thing.
Even in Tagbilaran too.
Yeah.
And that's one of the indicators, like even if you're so few, but people would read and follow you, and they would say, oh, we better go to this place over this place because they are plastic free.
One thing you can do to make better choices before coming anywhere that's completely new to you, make sure you do a little bit of research in terms of where you're staying and what the places you're staying at, what they're about. We're staying at the Donatella Hotel, which is a beautiful property. They won multiple awards for ecotourism and eco-sustainability, which I think is awesome. It's a great place to stay if you're ever in the area.
There are lots of eco-friendly resorts locally, and after checking into ours, we wanted to go freediving. But because the weather wasn't cooperating, the local Coast Guard didn't take any chances and decided to close the coast temporarily.
So apparently Coast Guard just gave the approval. There's one group of Chinese tourists. So we're gonna try to get in before.
So I lift my hands to the God that guides me, to the one that finds me. Even in my darkest days, he walks beside me singing songs of freedom, always singing songs of life. And they're leading me out of the darkness, and they're bringing me into the light. Hey, he never said it would be easy, no, he never said we would be safe. My hope, my hope, my hope, hope. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
that was actually really fun. The sardines are quite shallow in the water, so it's accessible to absolutely anyone. I don't even think you need to know how to swim. With a life jacket, you can perceivably see them. It's a great dive spot as well. If you go deeper, there's kind of like this ridge or cliff falling into the water, and there's barracuda, school of jacks, sardines, and I think we came at the perfect time, just nice and early before all the little groups start arriving. I'm hungry, starving.
So we're here at Sisters. It's a super popular place. It used to be a hole in the wall. Now it's kind of like this huge building, and the selection of food looks really fresh and tasty. Come here early in the morning so you get everything fresh out of the kitchen. And I'm just gonna choose absolutely everything.
An important side of sustainable tourism is the preservation of the local culture and supporting homegrown businesses. Six Sisters has the history that we all love to hear. In business for the last 30 years, they started off as a small roadside eatery, and today their restaurant stands 3 stories tall.
So this is a testicle, and it seems to be attached to something long. We all know what that is. If you cut it that way, it looks like a sausage almost, right? Gonna dip it in the sauce. It's okay. It's not livery. It's not a strong taste. It's actually tasteless, I might say. There's a slight aftertaste. It's like a creeper. Interesting. But this dish is actually called balbacoa, right? So this is the version, penisless and ballless version. It's the tail of the beef. And the best thing about a tail is that it's got a little bit of meat, lots of cartilage, lots of fat, so you get this like really glutinous piece of beef. Kind of like that skin here and everything. And that's really good. I mean, this is such a cool spot. Like if you come to Bohol, 100% sure, make sure you come here.
The main message of the DOT this year is more fun forever, and I think that's such a great transition from It's More Fun in the Philippines, where we introduce people to the country and tell them that it is actually more fun in the Philippines. But this new slogan just basically means that we need to make sure we preserve this fun for future generations so that 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, everyone can enjoy what we enjoyed, but at the same time, we don't want tourists to come once, we want them to come again and again and again, but it all has to be done properly and in tune with the environment. One particular company that has been implementing sustainable tourism solutions is Eco Explorations, and they are a great resource if you're looking for adventures with a purpose all around the country. In Bohol, they have a very unique experience with Kayak Asia.
This is the Abatan River, and all our guides are people that actually used to harvest mangroves, and now they're protecting mangroves, which is awesome. So we're going out for about 3 hours, come back here for a quick snack, and then we're going out again at night.
Green tourism goes way beyond just promoting natural resources. It needs to go hand in hand with social and environmental impact, community building, and making sure that those natural resources don't get overused in the long run.
So Eco Explorations, our main mission is to preserve the country's natural and cultural heritage and biodiversity, and to provide socio-economic impact. We do that through sustainable tourism. When you look at sustainable tourism, it's a concept that is still not widely known in the Philippines. Majority of what's embraced is mass tourism, where people actually go to and flock to the white sand beaches, popular iconic destinations that they hear of that's Instagram worthy. But sustainable tourism at the core, it's tourism where there are different facets that are taken into consideration, which is socio-economic, environmental, and the cultural. And Kayak Asia was one of the main partners for that. They were bringing people to Abatan River, which is less known, but they focus on mangrove conservation. And that was very critical for us.
Abatan River is one of the more diverse river systems in Bohol. So, in the country we have about 44 different species of mangroves, and more than 30 of which you can find here.
So after that quick little snack, that was delicious, we are back on the river. And what's gonna happen is, it's 4:30 p.m. so the sun's coming down. We're out to chase the fireflies. I'm so excited to see this.
So how am I supposed to know you'll go there, you'll find your way? But can't you see I'm wondering how all the tension will wash away? So are there any reasons left? You will run there, you will understand.
The fireflies are beautiful to see, but what I think what makes this really special and different is how knowledgeable the guides are. I think that was fantastic. They really made the trip for us, and they knew everything about the mangroves, the ecosystem, the biodiversity, and just being amongst that in the quiet is amazing. So if you do want to do some sort of river activity in Bohol, if you're healthy, like if you have a healthy body and if you're somewhat a little bit physical, I would recommend doing the kayak over the lobok cruise or over doing the motorized firefly tours, because one, it's better for the environment, and two, it's much more sustainable in terms for the community earning, and three, it is just such a more magical experience.
We headed off to the north to Bueno Nido to go diving the next day. Yes, we could have gone to the famed Balikasag Island, but we heard that depending on when you go, it can get quite full. So we wanted to see if we could show you another option.
What are kind of like the issues that you wish people wouldn't do?
Littering.
Yeah, so that's number one,
number
right?
one. We couldn't really choose which tourists we have, but we could at least educate them. Yeah. So in the diving also, it's kind of difficult because we're really strict on our diving rules. So we don't want to overcrowd the place. We follow strict carrying capacity for the area. We try to educate them at the same time also. We try to create like boundaries for tourists so that they won't really harass the place.
Yeah, so they understand where their limits are and everything like that.
The alarm went off at 4:30 a.m. and we got on our boat towards the Danahon Reef. It is one of the only double barrier reefs in Asia and is something that is quite rare in the world. It's also said that it could possibly be the birthplace of many of the marine species you find in the Pacific Ocean. You'd imagine that this important biodiversity site would have been protected from the beginning. Unfortunately, dynamite fishing used to be rampant in this area, so the mayor at the time thought of a brilliant idea to deter fishermen from these destructive practices. They placed statues of the Santo Niño and Mother Mary deep in the sea, which scared off a very superstitious population from destroying the marine habitat.
Light peeks through the cracks to see the place I'm at. I gave up all I had when I turned my back. The flames are rising up. I think I'm surrounded. I need an open door. I think I found it. Ooh, I think I found it. And I walked right through the fire. It took me higher. And I passed the line of silver. I'm going higher.
Never prayed underwater. First time for everything.
We unfortunately didn't have the best weather to work with. Water was choppy, visibility wasn't great, and of course marine life is harder to see at times like these, but I really hope to return when the conditions are more agreeable.
Driving literally in the middle of nowhere.
From the depths of the sea, we rose above the clouds. The Chocolate Hills is not the only place you can do that here.
See you guys.
Jump off point at the Alicia Panoramic Park, and it's already looking absolutely gorgeous. 10 minutes in, and it's actually pretty steep. You got this. I swear, this place is so magical and beautiful. I don't understand why more people won't come here. I mean, this last part of the hill, a little intense. Made it to the top. Whew. This view is worth it, man. And we're the only ones on the mountain, just us.
One thing I love about traveling to lesser known places is that people will be so excited to show you some of their customs or food. They decided to teach us how to make their sweet fermented rice cake dessert, famous in Alicia.
Okay, we have fresh sarong song. It's like an ice cream cone in banana leaves. Steaming. Okay. Especially after that hike, this is gonna be perfect. Sarap. It's like a long puto. Delicious.
A quick 45-minute drive later, we arrived in Unda. I fell asleep and I woke up early in the morning for a fresh shower.
I went for a swim this morning and I was the absolutely only one in the water and on the beach. It kind of reminds me of when I was a kid with these little small family resorts in completely deserted areas. I'm sure this place gets a little bit busy, but definitely not as busy as Panglao. Bohol is huge and there's a lot of rock formations and everything, which means there's a lot of small coves with perfect, idyllic beaches just like this one. And I mean, it's like a little slice of paradise with all the comforts that you would want.
You can feel it in the air that big things will happen in Bohol. It's clear that more people will come visit this island in the future. They have the airport and ports to accommodate lots of tourists, but before that, I hope that they put in place the rules, regulations, and infrastructure required for that to happen. From proper building codes, environmental clearances, trash collection and processing, all the way to setting a maximum carrying capacity for certain sites. As a visitor, you can help by making smarter choices and supporting businesses and activities that are aligned with those objectives. Ultimately, and I really hope you take this to heart, we are the change we want to see happen in the world.